it's Tuner. Say, if you attended my presentation last month to AARP Senior Planet, I just want to tell you I appreciate your attendance, and hopefully you've had a chance to start practicing the 5 essential movements that I talked about. Now, the 5 essential movements are our ability to squat, push, pull, hinge, and then carry. And I talked about these 5 and said that when you're able to do those 5, what that allows you to do is to be capable. Now, the more capable we are, the more self-sufficient and the more independent we can remain over time, because I can, in a squat, get up or down. I can push and pull. So if it's a heavy door, I can pull that door open or push the door open. I can hinge to pick things up off the floor. And I can pick up heavy items and carry them close to my body and walk with them. Now, when you practice these 5 over and over again during the day, just adding in a couple movements at a time, what happens is, over time, you improve your overall strength. When we improve our overall strength and we're practicing these 5 movements, we're also improving our ability to balance. So if you're doing a squat, and as you're going down and coming back up, your body has to keep adjusting the whole time to keep you upright. That's our balance system. So strength is the ability to, let's say, do a sit to stand without assistance. If I'm balancing on one leg and doing that, that improves my balance system. But let's add in a third part to this equation, and that is power. Power is my reactionary force. So if I'm lifting something and I lose my balance, power allows me to regain my balance and stay upright. Or if I trip on something as I'm walking across the floor, power is that reactionary force that allows me to react quick enough to prevent myself from falling. So we need all 3 of these together. So if we put all 3 together, when we think about strength, strength is our foundation. That's the base of what we're doing. If I have a nice strong base and I'm working on my control, which is balance, this is the system that allows me to keep everything upright, then I need to work on power. And power is my reactionary power. Now, during the presentation, I said that our bodies are adaptation machines. So if I practice sitting all the time, I get really good at sitting. That's what our bodies do. If I practice movement a lot, I get better at movement over time. If I practice balancing, let's say when I'm brushing my teeth and I'm balancing on one leg, over time, my balance system gets better. Or in other words, if you want any one of these 3 systems to improve, they have to be challenged. And I can challenge those day in, day out, because these are the 5 movements that we're doing all the time. So as I'm doing these, I'm challenging that system. And what really happens over time is this. If you want to have capability, you want to have the ability to remain independent and self-sufficient, that capability is built. And it's built by challenging these systems. So let's talk about a couple of the movements that we learned about during the presentation. And if you want to, when you're thinking about adding power in, if you want to add a challenge to any one of these 5 movements, I have a very simple way, low cost, to do that. That is, get yourself a water jug or a milk jug. This is a gallon container. Fill it up with water, and if you fill it all the way up with water, that is about 8 pounds of weight. Or if you fill it up a little bit over half full, around 5 pounds of weight. Now, depending upon your strength and depending upon your balance and power, I would say start off with an amount that is comfortable for you. And then when you do a squat, use this to add some challenge to the system. So if I'm going to do the squat and I walk over to the chair, remember, we're going to start off with our butt going backwards first. So as I go down, I can just hold this out in front of me and push back up. Now, when you go down and your butt touches the chair, pause for a moment, and when you push back up, I really want to push my heels into the ground. Now think what I'm doing here is I'm holding this in front of me. I'm practicing doing a pull, a carry, and a squat all at the same time. Now, if 8 pounds is too much, reduce the amount of water in there to something that's comfortable. Now I have a very simple, easy weight that I can use to help me improve my strength. Also, if we want to improve our balance, if you take this jug of water, hold it in one hand, and then walk up and down the hall with it, with the weight on one side of your body, every time you take a step, your body has to keep readjusting because of this weight. That really challenges my balance system. So you can take this jug, put it into the hall. When you get ready to walk down the hall, let's say to the bedroom or the kitchen, wherever you're going, pick up the jug, carry it. Now I'm practicing a carry, a pull. I had to bend over to pick this up. That's a hinge. And then I can hold that in close, put it down to my side, walk to where I'm going, and then in reverse, I'm going to do a hinge to set it down, and then I'm back up. That's my squat or my hinge in reverse. And then when I get ready to walk back down the hall, stop and pick this up again. So just think, a couple times a day, I can add some weight in, which is really challenging my system. Now, if you want to take it even further, get yourself 2 1-gallon jugs. Costco now sells 1-gallon jugs, and each one of these weighs 8 pounds. Depending upon your strength and depending upon your balance, then what you can do is practice doing a squat, coming back up with 16 pounds of weight. This is a great way to challenge your system. All right, now, depending upon your capability, let's say you want to start adding in some power. Power is a reactionary force. So I'm going to gain my strength by adding in some weight and doing these different movements over here. But if I want to start adding some power, and again, depending upon your capability, try this. When you do a squat, hold the weight in front of you, up close to your body, come down onto the chair, and then when you're pushing back up, push back up with your heels going into the ground with a little bit more power. So more of a push straight upwards. Lower down slowly, remember slow and controlled, and then push back up a little bit more. What that's doing is that's increasing my reactionary force by adding in this response element here. By doing that over time, I'll not only increase my strength, my balance, but also my power. So that's a very simple way that we can add in more capability and challenge these systems a little bit more anytime we're out doing these 5 essential movements. So I really hope you've been practicing those. I hope you've been seeing some improvements with it, and I look forward to the next presentation that I get to make for AARP Senior Planet. See you then.